I think that's the biggest part of it is everybody just treating people like their friends and family and doing what's right and what they would want someone to do for them and for their friends and family as well.
We just try and get our client to an agent to do their best to help them in a quick, friendly, and efficient manner and, give them good advice and help them out.
That's the time that, you hate getting that phone call of somebody saying, do we have life insurance? And having to say, no, we don't. Hi, everybody. So I'm so excited to be here on our podcast. I was going to say longtime friends, Steve Gannon and Tanya from Gannon Insurance in beautiful Bensalem, Pennsylvania, if I recall correctly. I know you guys moved your offices, but I think you're still Bensalem. And I'm excited to have them on here because they are one of our clients of the quarter. I figure I'll start by turning it over to you guys to just introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about Gannon Insurance.
Sure. So like Kelly mentioned, we're in Bensalem, PA. We're just outside of Philadelphia. So it's Lower Bucks County, Pennsylvania. This is our world headquarters, of course. We opened up August 1st of 2000. So we got a big anniversary coming up in a few months. Tanya and I are working on ways to have a nice reward for the team because it's 25th anniversary. So it's exciting for sure. But yeah, opened up as a scratch agency. PNC, our lead carrier, has been Erie Insurance. They've been our strongest carrier all along. We're independent, though. We have about 15 different carriers. And the team has grown from myself when I opened, me and my wife, to, I guess there's about 13 or 14 of us, right, Tanya? Something like that.
Steve, I'm just confused. Did you open the agency when you were 10?
I wish that were the case. Yeah. It feels like a lifetime ago. Trust me.
Awesome. And Tanya, do you want to say hello?
Hi. I've worked with Steve for the past 15 fun-filled years. It's been amazing. All kidding aside, he is a good boss. Everything he said, just working on the big 25-year anniversary. It's kind of a cool milestone.
I know. And if you think about it, you've added a person every 2 years, which is even cooler if you really think about it, and just how that growth, kind of matriculates. And yeah, we just did our 10th anniversary, and that was like a kind of like, whoa, like how does 10 years go by so fast from me like walking out of quitting my last job and starting a company thinking, what did I do? And like, I'm sure just all the trials and tribulations that come along with it, but it's an exciting time. And I think too, if you really think about the last 5 or 6 years, there was COVID and then the hard market. So the past 5 or 6 years have certainly added just a little extra layer of fun to the whole thing, right?
They have.
I thought you've been doing it more than 10 years, Kelly, because I feel like we've known you for 10 years at least. So, wow, it does go fast.
Well, I did it for another company for 8 before that. So I think there was like, when I started, it was technically 11 in June. So give it 2 weeks and we'll be at the 11-year mark. Zoom just helps me not age a lot too. So that's probably also shocking. So what I love about these guys is, I've always just had a huge respect for you of kind of, focusing on the systems, focusing on technology, the processes, training your team, making sure that they have the right tools. Like just knowing you two for as long as I have, there is this like kind of commitment to excellence, right? And commitment to helping the customers and also your carrier partners too, not just thinking about that one-sidedness. But, when you think about, how you guys approach the sales and service side, what sort of sticks out as some really highlights that you guys can share, maybe about how you guys treat your customers and develop your team?
That sounds like a question for you, Tanya.
You're so good to me.
I feel like the Nerf gun is going to come out after this podcast.
Yeah.
Tanya is
totally. You don't have to wait. It's very entertaining when I pop them in the forehead with the Nerf gun.
That's how they keep their culture, guys, is they have Nerf gun fights throughout the office.
So we want everyone to feel like they're a part of the Gannon family. Team members, customers. And I think that we have a really good team that's very good at making that happen. We have people say all the time how amazing April is when she they walk in the door and she's just like, hi, sounds like she just knows who they are. And
she remembers everybody's name. That is super true.
Does it. But I think that's the biggest part of it is everybody just treating people like their friends and family and doing what's right and what they would want someone to do for them and for their friends and family as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just add on to that. Like she said, with April, being the director of welcome, I think is a term that you may have started, Kelly. I'm not sure. But like even when she's answering the phone, like you can tell she's got a smile on her face. We're not sending people through a phone matrix of press one for sales and two. We're answering with a live body, getting them to an agent. There are other times where we have to put someone on voicemail if everyone else is on the phone. But we just try and get our client to an agent to do their best to help them in a quick, friendly, and efficient manner, and give them good advice and help them out.
Yeah. And I know that you guys have had kind of a commitment as much as possible being proactive, right? Whether it's sort of renewal reviews, even proactive sales strategies. How much is like proactivity important to you guys at the agency?
it's huge. When we started building that renewal review process and we tweak it every year, it gets tweaked a little bit, and we get better at it. But when we first started it, the team really, really did not want to do it. But then they started to see and now I've had them saying, well, we need to be at least 4 weeks out. I'd like to be 5 weeks out so we can be when the home renewal comes out. And, we don't want to backpedal on calls. Like they get it now. It was a matter of getting into that process and finding a way that works for everybody. So that's an important part of what we do and how keeping customers happy too.
Yeah, and since COVID and all the rate increases, with the renewal process that you developed and helped implement here, it has been huge.
Well, we like to say, when people are paying more, they expect more.
Yep.
So if I go and stay at like a Courtyard Marriott versus like a Ritz-Carlton, the expectations are just very different. And so, yes, it was not our choice to charge more, but we are making more money on each policy too, because the rates have increased. And so I think it's just a matter of when you get proactive, you're sort of fire prevention versus firefighting. And the agencies out there that aren't proactive, they're taking these 911 calls all the time of my rate went up. You people keep raising my rates, the evil you people.
Mhm.
I know Steve late at night hacks into the system and changes people's rates for fun. So it's a very valid point. So, taking a look at it, I know we also did the how to cross-sell life insurance course, and that's obviously a big component for you guys of trying to insert life into this mix because it does bump your retention. And I know we all share the same thing. It's the right thing to do, right? That's the time that, you hate getting that phone call of somebody saying, do we have life insurance? And having to say, no, we don't. So how do you guys approach life insurance in the day-to-day operations? Is it really integral part of the agency, or is it something that, you're still working through?
I mean, I think it's something that we've gotten better at, but is there room for improvement? The honest answer is yes. So, we just had our annual, ABM, which your course was timely because we submitted more applications than I think we ever had in that 1 month period. So it helped. Thank goodness. Now we just need to get those babies through underwriting. But once the contest ends, sometimes things I've already seen of slowing down. So Tanya and I need to keep reminding the team it's not just a 1 month thing. We need to remember the stuff that we learned in that course and to ask people, just because getting them protected with life insurance is just doing the right job. If we find out they have enough coverage, that's good. At least we know they have it. We can document in our system they have it through XYZ carrier in case the spouse calls us. But a lot of people don't have enough. So we need to make sure that we have them properly covered if something happens, God forbid, that they're not selling the home because they can't afford it.
Yeah. And I think, $100,000 20-year term, insert it with anything that you can. And the worst that somebody says is no, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
The best is in the middle is in a couple months, they call you and say, hey, I've rethought that. Can I talk to you about life insurance? And the best is they say, can I get more?
Right.
I always think that there's so many people that don't know you do it. And that's the thing that it's like the first step of any sales process is general awareness. And that's one of the things I just get passionate about is we just extend our hand. Maybe you don't get a yes right now, but you can down the pike because they'd rather call you than a stranger. Or go online to one of those places that says, I can get you coverage for $9.99 a month, which I have my own thoughts about, but we won't go into today here in general. So, tell me a little bit. Obviously, you've got to do the renewal review calls, and that's been a good bonus. And Tanya, thank you for catching me up on that. I love to hear that people are now like, we can't drop below 4 weeks.
It's great. I was floored when they said it to me. I was just like, oh, my, how the tables have turned.
From the, we have to get you to do them to hold up. They might get the home renewal before I can call them.
Yeah, it's great.
But
It does prevent that backpedaling phone call and that putting out a fire. Like, you might still get somebody that's cranky, but sometimes people are just cranky.
sometimes I'm cranky.
Me too.
There's nothing to do with my insurance. Sometimes I'm hungry. Sometimes, like it's rainy. But I also think too that, the important thing is now it's the way it's done. So when new hires come in, it's like they're weird if they don't do them, right? Like, or they're like the sore thumb of like, what do you mean you guys call? It's like, yeah, no, everybody here does it, and that's how we do it. Where sometimes when you're first starting at new, there is a lot, and maybe not new, but just getting the ball started, the momentum going a little bit. That's when everyone can get the team can get a little cranky.
They did.
Yeah, but I also think it's that belief, and this is I'll pop the question over to you guys. Everyone always likes to say, well, we give good service, and then you say, okay, do you do renewal reviews? Well, no, we don't have time for that. And I'm always like, so tell me what you do for good service. We return phone calls, and
That's your job.
Yeah. We had you guys will die. We walked into a new agency, and the agency's expected turnaround time on phone calls is 72 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they're struggling to get to that.
Oh my.
For those of you listening, Tanya's face had a whole moment.
Wow.
I know, but if you don't have the right process or the right leader, and that's why I was going to give Tanya a little compliment of how you really are really great at listening to everybody, understanding and figuring out how to tweak things, but still I feel like being that really good player coach that holds them accountable and says, you can do it. And then if they give any pushback, you're like, but I'm doing it. So we can make all of it work, right, Tanya?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I think you guys are doing such a great job, and we just appreciate your support. We appreciate all you guys do for the industry, and just want to say thank you guys for being good supporters of us. So my last question for you guys is, if there was anything we could create under the sun that would help your agency, is there one piece of content or course or training that you think would be amazing?
For me, one thing that I would like to see, and I know you have courses for the customer service development, but training of people on not only what to say, how to say it, and what not to say to a customer. So you can kind of control that phone call using keywords that are psychologically encouraging. Like, I'm concerned because I noticed that you have limited tort coverage, and explaining what that means. I think that changes the phone call a little bit and can really, bring a customer to a point where they're like, oh, wow, I didn't think of it this way. It's like distracting a toddler, not to call customers toddlers, but it's the same idea.
Well, I also like to say it's also like talking to my spouse when I want to influence where we're going to go to dinner
Right.
or convincing him to mow the lawn. The way I say it's not how come the lawn's not been mowed? But if I'm
Right.
I think the dog might get lost in the weeds out there. Then it changes things a little bit. But yeah, we actually are, we're redoing WOW customer service. That'll get released in July. And there's a whole section of email communication too, because I think a little touch points on email etiquette can go a long way as well. You need a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yep.
And asking somebody hi, how was your day? And not just blah, 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 blah. And then we do have a whole spot on things to say, words to stay away from. Like and I'd love to hear yours, but my pet peeve is when I hear cheap. I never.
Oh, I don't like it. It
Oh.
drives me out of my mind.
I'm like,
cringe.
I have a cheaper quote. I'm like,
Less expensive.
yeah. Or I've been able to find something within your budget. Like the cheaper,
Right.
it dry. And I think it comes from my grandmother, because if someone would say, "Oh, I like your dress," I was like, "Oh, I got it so cheap at TJ Maxx," and she was Italian, so she would like smack me, right, and be like, "You never say cheap to people. Like, it doesn't matter what you paid
Yeah.
for it." And so cheap is mine. I don't know if you guys have any other words that you just cringe when you hear people say.
Cheap is mine as well.
Yeah, cheap pretty much would drive us all nuts. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it sounds cheap.
Yeah. Like, and who wants, like, I don't know, like, I don't want like the cheap cheeseburger. I don't want like the cheap tire, like, I don't
Well,
know.
if they want cheap insurance, they're probably calling the wrong place.
Correct. The other one that gets me is full coverage. I want full
I
coverage.
don't like that either.
I'm like, what does that mean? Because your version and mine might be two really, really separate things. So
Customers think full coverage means that they have everything.
yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah, like I always say, if you hit like a school bus full of kids that hit a bus full of nuns that hit like an NFL team and they went off the ravine, you don't have enough coverage. So,
No.
so
I don't know if anyone has enough coverage for that scenario. That's a tough
Right?
one.
no, but the full coverage always, and then I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them. Like I'm going to put this in the Raider, or we picked up a phone call recently with an agency that only writes multi-line, and this poor producer, the guy called in. He's like, "I want to quote my auto insurance," and he just kept saying, "Well, we only write, we don't write monoline." And the guy's like, "Okay, because I want an auto insurance quote." He's like, "But we don't write monoline." And I was like, it went on for 3 minutes, like 3 minutes of back and forth. I was like, oh my gosh. The guy felt no value in why you'd have other lines. And the poor little lead didn't know what monoline was. He just wanted auto insurance. And it's like all those little insurance terms that we use sometimes.
Yeah.
That got like, the person doesn't know what this is. Please stop using that terminology. Like even comprehensive coverage. We all know what that means, but does the client know what, or we sometimes we sort it to comp. Well, your comp is, and I'm like,
Yeah.
complimentary insurance? This is amazing. So, Tanya, I will show you some of those things coming soon. How does that sound? But wait till July. We will have sort of that. I call it like the finishing school, where you need the right vocabulary and learn how to, fold a napkin appropriately.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been so fun. We appreciate you all so much. Stay tuned for that. And thanks for just being good supporters. And congratulations on the 25 years. When is the official date of the 25 years?
Official date is August 1st.
Oh my goodness. Are you like
Right around the corner? Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie, can you give this, like, spill the secrets on what the plans might be, or not? Is it super tough?
I think we were looking at possibly like a weekend down the shore. So working on those details. Yeah.
That's fun. That is super fun. Oh, I love that. Well, Steve, you should be super proud too. That's a huge, huge milestone.
No, we're absolutely looking forward to it. And Kelly, one thing I had to give you props. I know we didn't discuss it in the thing, but there's other stuff that you've done for us way back when you did Secret Shopper stuff.
Yeah.
You also interviewed every team member, and then you helped, me realize I needed an office manager and that Tanya was the right fit. So, I mean, obviously Tanya's my right arm, so it's been immensely helpful. So that's all because of you. So thank you.
Tanya's like, yeah, thanks, Kelly.
I'm sitting here going, do I bust on her and tell her I'm not sure if I should thank her? No, really, thank you.
Well, hey, it's hard because, you start a business and it all gets like 1 degree hotter every day, right? And then all of a sudden,
Every day.
and you never really know when you need that person. It's a big transition, but it worked out really well. And you guys are a good dream team. And I'll leave you with this, Steve. Just, 25 years, that's a life sentence in prison. So
Yeah.
you're almost at your life sentence, but it looks like you're going to do a second term.
You blink and it goes fast. So it's like, wow.
And I'm sure you were in insurance before that. So maybe you are on more of your, you're in a different zone.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. Well, it's so good to see you guys. And we will be celebrating from Rhode Island the big anniversary.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly.
Kelly.
Take care.
Yeah, take care, everybody.